The following piece is part of Uncollected, a collection of peculiar prose and poetry, a project by OLOMOPOLO Media with the support of the Embassy of France in Pakistan and the Alliance Francais.
Aiviria, written by Nayab Imtiaz, read by the author. Standing barefoot in my bedroom, I exhaled deeply. Finally, some solitude after a long day of playing pretend. My room consisted of a single bed that creaked every time I sat on it. A pile of clothes always rested in the corner. Paintings and sketches drawn on hastily torn pages of my notebook filled up the peeling cream-colored walls. A full-length mirror took up most of the wall opposite me. Zara often joked about how ancient it looked. Vintage, I'd always correct her with a dramatic gasp. I can remember a day when standing in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection didn't make me skittish. Some days were worse than others. I looked at my face, tracing my brown skin. The soft facial fuzz tickled against my fingertips. My mom resented it, along with my brown skin. She resents everything about me. Part of me thinks she blames me for Baba abandoning us. Go and wax, Sarah. I feel disgusted even looking at your face. Girls your age are so prim and proper. You look like a boy, she had said earlier. I can't help it, I wanted to yell. I would give everything for a world where I didn't hate dresses because I was forced into them by my mother and wasn't hated for wearing suits. A world where I was just allowed to be. These possibilities feel too far-fetched. Why can't you be normal? I asked my reflection, slowly stripping out of my clothes till I was naked, except for my grey white locket snug against my overheated skin. It's a family heirloom, I told Zara when she first asked about it. Her cold, slender fingers had lingered on my collarbone for a tad too long, yet not long enough. She had just nodded, smiling warmly, traces of her shiny strawberry gloss still visible on her thin lips. It was a delicate gold chain attached to a brown grey-white gemstone wrapped in a gold wire. The golden specks were visible when you looked up closely. My nanny had given it to me before she had passed away. She had told me to keep it close, our little secret, to remind me of her after she was gone. I felt compelled to wear it every day after she left us. She had been my one support against my mother's Spanish Inquisition. Every time new insults were hurled at me, I felt the locket grow warm, as if it was Nani hugging me from the great beyond. I drew my attention back to my reflection, raising my chin, and stood straighter till my spine hurt and my breast perked up. I had a complicated relationship with them. Some days I didn't mind them. Other days I wished I could just leave them at home. Some days the mere existence of them on my body felt utterly alien, just like I do in this body, like I don't belong. Today was one of those days. I stared at myself and my reflection stared back as if mocking me. It was a different person. I stared till my face and my own body became unfamiliar, except my eyes. My eyes that Zara loved so much. She told me that the last time we met. Thinking about it made my chest hurt with an almost electrifying intensity. I rubbed my chest. An unbearable pain encompassed my heart like a dark cloud. The pain came in waves, making me picture her face, her kajal-filled eyes, and that last phone call she told me she had to take. My legs wobbled, unable to carry me further. My head spun and I looked around my room, searching for something to ground me, spiraling further into self-pity. Clenching my sweaty hands, I breathed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is so utterly useless. I began screaming in frustration. Why can't it just ever work out for me for once? Why can't I just be normal? And then, in between gasps, "Someone help me, please, I cannot deal with this anymore." The tap of fingernails against what sounded like glass broke me out of my trance. I sprang up, dressing myself hurriedly, thinking it was my mother trying to enter my room. Tap. Then again, she had never bothered, even if I died. She had made that clear plenty of times. Tap, tap. Where was this coming from? Maybe it was a branch against my window? Tap, tap, tap. There was no tree next to my window. "Get a grip, Jay. You are spiraling," I whispered under my breath. "Hi." I yelped and spun around. The mirror no longer reflected my dimly lit room. Instead, a strange creature with a finger pointing towards an old half-finished painting. Its dark skin shone under a golden glow that seemed to be emanating from within its flesh. White feathered wings were tucked behind the shoulders, barely visible through the small frame of the mirror. Bushy eyebrows scrunched up in concern. The creature took a step forward. "Great. You have officially lost it, Jay." I shut my eyes, tight enough to see stars dance in the dark. Counting to 10 again, I peeked through one eye. To my horror, it was still there, intently gazing at my painting that was its spitting image, except the creature that stood in front of me sported a leather jacket. I had painted this canvas a while ago in a frenzy. That day when Zara had to go back to her husband, it depicted an otherworldly being sitting at the riverbank with its glorious white wings spreading out around it. The hair was bunched up at the top of its head like a crown, except that this creature was now speaking to me through my mirror. My brain has finally snapped. There is no other explanation. "What are you, a demon?" I managed to stammer, my disbelief now replaced with terror. "I'm not a djinn, if that's what you're asking," it replied calmly. "You called for help. We responded," it continued, pointing towards my neck. I dropped my gaze to my locket. The brown gemstone was now a small orb of swirling golden light. "Who's we?" I whispered, my throat dry as cotton. "We like to be referred to as guardians, but you can call me Atalia." Atalia smiled at what must have been a funny expression on my face, a mix of every emotion under the sun. "Come on, let's go." "Go? Go where?" I took an instinctive step back, my stomach knotted in fear. A hint of intrigue danced around the rough edges of my anxiety. "Inside the mirror?" "No, silly. The mirror is just an easy portal. It's a long story, but we're going to Aiviria. It's where all your dreams can come true," said Atalia. Her, or was it a he? Perhaps both? Voice melodious and inviting. "Don't worry about that. I can be whatever you choose me to be. I'm your guardian after all," replied Atalia with a knowing smile. "It can read my thoughts." At that moment, unbidden, my thoughts went back to the night of our last sleepover. "If you could have your one wish granted, what would it be?" Zara had asked me, lost in her thoughts, her silky black hair splayed across her pink silk pillowcases. "I don't know," I replied. "I'd wish to be an actor," she had said after a long pause. What I had really wanted to say was, "I wish you would consider me man enough to be with me forever." I spent that entire night tossing in her bed, thinking about possibilities, of everything I could have been, of everything we could have been. I was tempted by the guardian's offer. There was nothing to lose. My mother loathed me and Zara had abandoned me. I felt guilty about holding on to resentment. Intellectually, I understood her reasons. Emotionally, I felt betrayed. Mostly, I was angry. Fueled with resentment and spite, I took a step towards the winged guardian. Another, and then another, until I stood inches away from the mirror portal to another realm. I assumed that since this was the place of possibilities and miracles, given how Atalia had literal wings, maybe there was a possibility to alter some parts of me. With that thought, I reached out to Atalia's stretched out, surprisingly warm hands and crossed the threshold. Stepping through the portal felt strange. An electric charge pressed against my body, making my hair stand on end. Little wisps of golden light whooshed by me. I felt a gentle tug on my locket as the moss-covered grass replaced the cracked marble of my bedroom floor. The next thing I knew, I was standing at a river bank from my painting. "What's your name, though?" Atalia asked after giving me a minute to adjust. "You don't know my name?" I asked suspiciously. "I do, but I assumed you preferred a different name." "Jehan," I managed to whisper, then more resolutely, "My name's Jahan." It felt good to say it out loud, to finally acknowledge my existence beyond the binaries. Here, I was free. I took in my surroundings for the first time. A river meandered through sharp rocks and enormous palm trees stretched before us. The yellow hue of sunlight danced in the perfect rhythm with the patch of lavenders. The cool, gentle breeze felt good on my skin. "Now what?" I asked hesitantly. I just jumped through a mirror. Did it mean I was dead? I shifted my focus to my hands and flexed my fingers to test that theory. My fingers looked human enough. "Now we go to the orb and make your wish come true," she said, her gaze lingering on my locket. She started walking, her gait mirroring the excitement on her face. "The orb?" I asked, struggling to keep up with her fast pace. I was clueless about how any of it worked. We came to a sudden stop in front of a giant door. Silver circular patterns snaked up the metal door. Beyond that door, there was an orb, sitting atop a silver tower. It was radiating a light so bright that it almost blinded me. I basked in the pink glow of the orb that gently caressed my skin. It felt alive. Reading my thoughts once again, Atalia said, "That locket is the key to this orb and your dreams. No, your grandmother had no idea what it was. She just sensed you would need it. Old people are wise that way. The locket finds its way on its own to those who really need it, and now it has found you. But there's always a price to pay, a sacrifice, if you will." "A sacrifice? It's not a human sacrifice, is it?" I chuckled, only half jokingly. "No, silly. I told you I'm not a demon," the creature laughed. "However, the balance must be restored. Once you put your locket in the orb, you will know what it asks of you. It's different for everyone. This is how far I can go. The rest is your own journey. You need to know if what you desire is worth any sacrifice asked of you." Saying this, Atalia moved back and nudged me forward. "My heart's desire, the orb can give me all of that I've ever wanted. I think of all the humiliations suffered, the bullying in the school, the jeers in public, my body that never felt home like my own, the way my own mother wishes she had simply aborted my existence. I think of Zara, but is a half love ever a full love? And even my own name, that was never mine to begin with. Oh, to live in Jahan's world." I braced myself for whatever the orb wanted from me and stepped forward.
For other stories and poems from this collection, follow OLOMOPOLO on Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, and YouTube.